Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about the Kamala Harris campaign in 2024 and why they should not become overconfident about their chances against Donald Trump, because in the end, that would not play out. The toss-up states that you see here, these are the states that the Kamala Harris campaign should focus on. The Democrats, Hillary Clinton, in 2016 made the same exact mistake where instead of focusing on the battlegrounds, on maybe the battlegrounds where you were favored in but would still give you victory, Hillary Clinton was going for the landslide. She was trying to win Florida, Ohio, obviously, Iowa, Arizona she focused on, North Carolina. She was trying to flip these leaning Republican states when she didn't need them. She was being overconfident about her chances. She wanted a landslide rather than just a victory. And despite how well Kamala Harris may be, improving in the polls, she should not become overcompetitive about her chances, because Donald Trump can very well win the election again. So, as I said, Kamala Harris, it looks like she is focusing more, the campaign, on Florida, Texas, Ohio, those three in particular, which are red states. Now, this is not smart at all. I mean, she's holding campaign operations in these three states. She's running millions of dollars worth of ads in these three states. And, for example, a couple days ago, a report came out in Ohio. She's running millions upon millions of dollars worth of ads around Toledo, Youngstown, and people were so confused because Ohio voted for Donald Trump by 8%. Kamala Harris certainly isn't doing 9% better than Biden did in 2020. So it's just like, why is she even trying to win the state? And then Texas voted for Trump by 5.6, Florida by 3.4. These two states are very likely to trend towards the Republicans, become more Republican than 2020. So it is just confusing, and, it's a sign of overconfidence, which is exactly what she shouldn't do. For example, in 2016, this is the map of Hillary Clinton's campaign stops. What you see is that she focused big in Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. One of these states is smart, that being Pennsylvania, because it was a leaning Democratic state, but it was very competitive, and still Donald Trump ended up winning it. So that was smart, holding a lot of campaign events there. But 3 out of the 4 states where she held the most campaign events, the other 3, Ohio, North Carolina, and Florida, were leaning Republican states at that time. And Donald Trump won all 3. I mean, he won all 4. But, Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, they all voted for Trump by respectable margins. So, she was trying for these Republican states that were out of grab. Maybe they were possible for Barack Obama in 2012, but certainly not her. And they were out of reach, really, for Hillary Clinton. And instead of focusing on Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, New Hampshire, locking down these Democratic states, she was focusing on more red states, as well as Iowa, you see here. That was completely out of reach for her. And look at that. In Wisconsin, she didn't hold a single campaign event after the DNC. Not a single campaign event was held in Wisconsin. Michigan, very few were held. New Hampshire, very few. She only carried down by a very small amount. Nevada, New Mexico, and Minnesota were both competitive. Virginia was competitive. No campaign events there. Just very, sign overconfidence by the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016. And she ended up losing that election. She lost Wisconsin and Michigan. New Hampshire was incredibly close. Virginia was incredibly close. New Mexico was incredibly close. I guess New Mexico was not incredibly close. But she lost Nebraska second. But, Kamala Harris, it looks like, may be aiming for that same type of strategy, which would be extremely costly. I mean, she's looking good in Michigan and Pennsylvania, and she doesn't want to, she wants to make sure that those don't fall under her belt. I mean, looking at Michigan, polling looks extremely favorable for her. She's ahead. That's 2020. She wishes she was ahead by 8. She's up by 2.9% on Trump. That would be outpacing Biden's 2020 numbers of 2.8%. Now in Pennsylvania, they don't look much worse for her. She's ahead by 2.1%, or 2.3% actually. Now, these margins are good, but I will always remind you that in 2020, Joe Biden led the polls in Pennsylvania by 4.7%. He won it by 1.2. So that means the polls were overestimating Biden by some 3.5%. So if they once again underestimate Trump by 3.5% and Harris is up by 2.3, then Trump would win the state of Pennsylvania. Same case goes for Michigan. Donald Trump was underestimated by 8%, or he was underestimated by 5%, more like 4%. So if now Kamala Harris is leading by 3, then that would result in a Trump victory. Now, I don't think, for a number of reasons, that Donald Trump will be as underestimated in 2024 as he was in 2020. There are so many reasons. I believe that pollsters have finally cracked the code of the hidden Trump voter after all of these years. And I mean, just because the mood of the country is just so against him right now, I doubt that polls will be overestimating Trump at least as much as they did in 2020 and 2016, but still, they must be cautious. They can't just say we're leading in the polls here, so we have locked down the state. The polls could still be underestimating Donald Trump, so Kamala Harris has to make sure these two states are in her column. If she loses one of them, she probably loses the election as well. Now, I highly believe, I would really be surprised if Michigan and Pennsylvania, either of them, go to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. I truly believe that that both of these are deep into her column. Now, Kamala Harris, I don't really think that she should go for North Carolina or Arizona because they are so tough. I believe that she should go for Wisconsin or Nevada or even Georgia. Georgia is tough, but she can absolutely still do it. I mean, of course she should go for all these states, right? She's not just going to abandon Arizona and North Carolina because they look unlikely. But the point is, Donald Trump could very well carve out a path to victory by winning North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and then he needs one more, that of course being Wisconsin. Or he can win Nevada, and then chip off the 2nd Congressional District of Nebraska. That's unlikely, though. I doubt he can do that. So the most likely path to victory for Kamala Harris is this: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada. When you look at polling in Wisconsin, and she actually doesn't even need Nevada. Trump can have Nevada, so it's just Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. She's ahead by 3.2. That's the most of any state, but you will also notice that in 2020, this state overestimated Joe Biden in the polls the most of any battleground state. He was ahead by 8.4. He won it by 0.6, some 7.8% overestimation of Joe Biden in 2020. So, it's her best state, but whatever. Trump was underestimated by 7.8. That is so significant. Pollsters in Wisconsin are awful. They always underestimate Republican presidential candidates. So he needs to watch out. Kamala Harris definitely needs to watch out there, for some hidden Trump voters that the polls didn't account for. So the point is, Donald Trump has a seriously realistic path to victory. I have Kamala Harris favored to win the election, but if he wins North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and he doesn't even need Nevada, Harris can have Nevada, and he takes Wisconsin, and that's very possible, he takes 272 electoral votes, a very narrow victory. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before Election Day. It looks like we're going to get there, so help me out, please. But again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.